Hey there, it's Carrie Rhodes here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and my stamp studio here in Eagle, Idaho. Today is episode 5 of my August Stamp Set of the Month series. 5 Tuesdays in the month of August, so 5 episodes for you with the Forest Party stamp set from Trinity Stamps. Today I'm going to pair that stamp set up with another from Trinity Stamps called Treetop Adventure. They're both designed by the same artist, so they go really well together. And I decided to be a little crazy and do some no-line coloring with a slimline stamp. It's a lot of coloring, but it was a lot of fun. So let's jump in and take a look at this huge stamp set. All right, here they are side by side, the stamp set of the month, Forest Party, in case this is the first episode you're seeing. And then here's the Treetop Adventure stamp set, both designed by Popsicle Sticks, so they're gonna go really well together. First, I'm gonna stamp out this treehouse image. I love that it's made to fit a slimline card. You can die cut this out. There are dies for it. There's 3 pieces, one that goes across the top and one that goes on either side of the tree. So it's a pretty cool die set. I'm going to ink this up with some Fadeout ink by Ink on 3 because I don't know why, but I was totally inspired to do no line coloring with this image, and it's huge. I have created 2 other cards with this set. I'm going to show you at the end of the video, and colored them in different ways each time. So I will have links to those videos for you when I show the cards. There'll be links on the screen so you can check out 2 other ways to color this. So I am taking my Y15 marker and tracing out the lines of the treetop and the leaves. I will end up changing the leaves though, as I really didn't know what I wanted to do at this point. Just right about here I was like, oh, I should just randomly color leaves, and then all of a sudden I decided, oh, the leaves are just going to go in a row. I don't know, I was just going with the flow, just having fun in the moment, being artistic and creative and coloring out little leaf shapes, and I just went with it. So then I brought in red, which is actually R05. I know I cut it off there a little bit, but I decided I needed some red and some brown. So I'm doing the same technique, just coloring them in kind of a leaf shape, which is, you know, oblong and pointy on the ends. And then I decided to go around it with my Y15. So I'm not coloring exactly over the top, but I'm not being super careful to avoid the leaves either. Then I decided to bring in my E35 marker and add in some brown leaves as well. So you could do this same technique where the leaves were completely random throughout the whole treetop, but I just wanted to do them in rows and thought it was a fun and different look for the tree. So I'm going to start over again and do my red, my orange, and my brown, and just continue on like that over and throughout the whole tree. But there will come a point where I had to stop and color in the tree branches. I just felt it would be easier for myself if they were colored in so they didn't get lost in the process. So I'm doing several rows of these, and it really turns out looking pretty cool. And like I said, I've colored this in 2 different ways besides coloring leaves to give the treetop texture. So make sure you check out those videos. I'll have them linked for you. They're pretty cool. One of them is a shaker card as well, so that's fun. All right, so now I am adding in those branches because I didn't want them to get lost as I was coloring. So I'm using my, I believe E49 marker to do this, and I have to say I get pretty nervous about no line coloring because if I could draw these things I wouldn't stamp, you know what I mean? So even tracing them is a little scary for me, but you know, sometimes you just got to go for it, and so that's what I did. And maybe this is not I don't know, perfect, but I really think that's okay. If you get off the line a little bit, the line doesn't exactly show. So people don't really know if you got off the line a little bit. So now I colored some of that in with my E27, but previously when I had colored this out, I added this kind of wood grain or bark texture to the tree, and I decided I really like that, so I'm going to do that again. So I brought in E59 and added those in, and then before I could add any more color, I wanted to color in the wood steps that are like nailed to the tree, and that was the same color I was going to use for the trim on the tree house, so I colored that in. So I'm kind of just like all over the place and a little bit random with my coloring, but it made sense to me. I will get back to the treetop momentarily. And now once I have that trim colored in, I'm outlining it with E55, and I wasn't sure what color I wanted to do the actual house, but I wanted the trim to look like just lumber, so that's why I went with those colors. Now I'm back with the E27 and coloring in the tree and coloring over the top of that E57. It being such a dark color, you can still see those lines that I drew in for the bark, and I think it's so fabulous. Anything wood grain or wood stump or anything like that, I just love so much. So this tree is one of my favorites. All right, so I am back in doing those leaves and adding them just to fill out the whole entire tree. I'm going to go back and forth between doing my rows of leaves and coloring it in with my yellow marker, and any of those leaves that were already there on the ends of those little branches that I previously colored yellow, I'm actually coloring over the top of them whatever color of leaves I'm doing around them at that time. So then it was time to add some grass. I got a little bit off screen on the next two parts of coloring, so sorry about that. I have YG06 for my lightest color and G14 for my darkest. I did add and draw in a second row of grass that looks like it's going behind the tree, and then I'm just flicking in some lines to add that grassy look. So then in and around the tree, you could die cut this out at this point and then put it on a background, which is what I did the other two times, but this time I decided to go ahead and color it since we're going with that no line coloring look. So I have BG10 that I'm coloring, trying to leave some white space here and there to look like clouds. And I love how that turned out. I was, I'm not what I would call an expert at coloring my own scenes at all, but I had fun doing this, and I like the results. So, it's okay if I'm not the expert and, at the level that some other people are. I really like this simple way of doing it and how it turned out. So back to that tree house, I just went in with the same exact colors that I did for the trim, and then I darkened up the trim a little bit and decided to give it a dark brown door. So it's just a very homemade, all natural treehouse in natural wood color or timber kind of colors. So I added wood grain to the door as well, and using just my E27 and then my E55 marker for the door. So there it is, all colored out. You like the little rocks there? They're so cute. Those are in the stamp. And now I'm going to stamp out some images that are from the Forest Party stamp set, my stamp set of the month, as well as the tree or the birdhouse and the nest, which are from the Treetop set. So I'm going to no line color these as well. My squirrel. Let's talk about my squirrel. I did not like how it turned out. I went over it so many times, the lines of my markers kind of bled out and his face got wonky, and my motto of like, sometimes you just have to keep going. Well, sometimes you have to redo it. And I did that today. So here I am coloring out the bunny with some warm gray markers. That turned out really cute. The cup, oh my word, I love how this cup turned out, and I used BG10, I believe, and BG11 for that, added a little T in there. And now the tree trunk, oh my word. So I have E47, these are the same colors that I used on the big tree, and I'm going to color it pretty much the exact same way and add in that texture that I added on the tree, because probably there used to be another tree there and they were the same kind of tree, and it got cut down. And so now these cute little critters have a nice little table to have a tea party outside their tree house, right? So I'm adding in that wood grain with the E59, and what I do is I just hold my pen very lightly, drag it very lightly so that it skips, and then I can add in a few dots there, and I don't care if the line is a little wiggly, a little bent, and I just try to go with the shape of the tree. So it's pretty easy to do, pretty fun, and you could practice it. And hey, if you don't love it, you color over it. And it always looks better once you color over it. So I put in some E27 and left a little bit of white, and then went back in with my E35 marker. So now there's my squirrel. I colored 5 squirrels. before I found a combination of colors that I liked, before I had a face that I liked. I learned a lot about no-line coloring in the process. So there's the squirrel I ended up using, and I'm going to die cut that out and the rest of the images with their coordinating dies as well. And then we're ready to now build our scene. But there's my cute little squirrel. It worked out in the end. Persistence paid off. I'm putting the nest in the tree, and I'm putting that little birdhouse hanging from the bottom branch there. And then I'm going to glue everything down and everything in place except the bunny, which I will put on with foam squares so he's more in the foreground of the scene. And there it is. Isn't it cute? I added some white gel pen to all the images, including the tree. And then I have a sentiment from the Autumn Sentiments stamp set that says, "So thankful for you." I'm die cutting it out with a little banner die and sticking that to the top of the tree. I did use walnut ink from Lawn Fawn. I just had it out and it worked perfect for my color combination today. I'm going to glue that onto my card base, which is just a little bit bigger than 8.5 by 3.5. So it's 8 3/4 by 7.5. Scored at 3 3/4, so I have a little bit of a white border. Here's another card that I made with this set, which I will have a video for because I colored the treetop very different, but I did make sure it had texture to it. And you can see I colored the grass different. I did some die cutting. And then here's another card I made, coloring the treetop even different than I did on that other one. So there's 2 other ideas for you, and I'll have them linked in the upper corner on those screens. Now let's look at all the cards we made in this month's series. If you missed an episode of this Stamp Set of the Month series, I'm going to have all of them linked for you below. There's 4 others, including this Slimline shaker in the forest with strawberries in there. I love it. And then I have this Slimline pop-up box card that creates a 3D scene. That's the picnic in the park right there. So we have the picnic in the park, picnic in the forest, picnic by the treehouse, and then picnic in the neighborhood scene with the squirrel peeking out from the bush. So lots of fun this month with these cute images from the Forest Party stamp set from Trinity Stamps. I'm going to have all the supplies I used for today's card linked in the description box for you as well. So feel free to check that out. And I just want to say thank you to all of you for watching, subscribing. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you choose to click and shop the links below that are my affiliate links, I have to say thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. I'll see you all again on the next video. Happy stamping. Bye.